Today we're going to do some painting on the exterior of a home, and this is going to be a stucco home. And there's a few common problems with these stucco homes. A lot of stress cracks over time, so we have the caulk gun for that. That's going to take care of those problems, and I'll show you that here in a second. And then we have the tape to tape up all the things you don't want to get the spray on, because we're going to be spraying this house today. So come on over with me to this house and I'll show you how to do it. The same color as the house, and we don't have to worry about those. We want to make sure that the light bulbs are taken out so we don't get overspray on them. But the next thing that we're going to want to do is tape up everything on the house that we don't want to get overspray on. So that means the address right here, the bushes, we're going to take a drop cloth, we're going to drop those all out before we spray. Any windows, like on the top of the house up there, if you take a look there, we're going to run a line of tape. Now most amateurs are probably going to use plastic with this window too, but today what we've done is we've gone through and we've got the right size tip to do this house around the windows. So we're going to use like a 311 tip around the windows, and then on the siding we're going to use like a 517 to make sure that we get enough paint on the building. So to tape something up like this, you just use some tape like this. Now if you're going to let it sit on there for more than a day or so, then you're going to want to use blue tape. But if you can get this done in a day like we can, then you just go ahead and use some yellow tape. Alright, tape it up. Make sure you're very careful with your lines here so that when you go through you don't have big lines where the previous color is showing through. Okay, so we get that all nice and wrapped up like a Christmas present. Okay. Now if this tape's only on here for a day, no problem. Probably even 2 days it'd be okay as long as it's in the shade. If it's in the sun, you're going to have a problem after about 24 hours. Okay, so that's how some... Alright, what we have here is your typical stress crack on some of these stucco homes. A lot of times you'll see cracks around doors, windows, anything that's moving a little bit. Especially around windows, you're going to find these little stress cracks right underneath them, but on doors, you'll find it by the jambs right here. So I'm going to run a bead of caulk here. I'm going to use 25-year acrylic caulk that's paintable. You know, anything that's 25, 35, I wouldn't go down to 15. And you just put it in the bead here. I'm going to show you here. Okay, make sure you get enough on there. And then just use your finger. You have to smooth this stuff out to make a good seal. Okay. Smooth that out. Yep. All right. You can see I put a line all the way across here. That's because that door moves up and down and it's going to get some crack. Now, when you look at this, I put it on pretty heavy. Alright, so we don't have a problem with it cracking again. I'm going to show you another problem on these stucco homes, and it's the foundations. For some reason, they like to peel a lot. So follow me down to this, down here. Now you can see here we got a little crack, alright, on the foundation. A lot of times you'll see these on the corners, the cracks here, but one of the bigger problems on these stucco homes is that you have this problem where you need to scrape this stuff out here, okay? Alright, and scraping's not good enough, okay? You have to go through and you have to wire brush it, okay? So that you get all that chalkiness off of there, okay? It's kind of like sanding it, but it's concrete, so we use the wire brush. Now, this right here, there's a few different ways that you could do it. You could pull this all out and put some new concrete in there, or we can go ahead and use some caulk. I'm going to use some caulk on this one right here. Okay, I'm going to put a lot on there. This would be a good weather seal, so we don't have this problem again. I'm going to smooth it right out. Work it into the crack. Okay. I'm gonna let this sit up for a couple hours, and then we'll go ahead and we'll paint it. All right, and that'll hold once it dries up for a good 25 years probably. All right, today when we do our painting, and we're getting about ready to, we're going to use Dunn Edwards paint here. You can use a lot of different paints on the outside. Glidden makes a good product, Behr makes a good product, Sherwin-Williams makes a good product, but today our customer wanted to use Dunn Edwards. So, a few things that are important when we're doing the outside of this. One is to make sure you use a premium product, something that's going to last as long as your caulk does, something put around 25 years, okay? The second thing is you want to make sure that we're using an acrylic paint, which this paint is right here, so it's going to have good color retention on the home. This particular brand, it has good brand recognition, and it holds up really well. So we're going to get started with some spraying here. So here we go. Do some spraying here. I got my spray gun. I got the right kind of tip for the job. That's important to make sure you have the right tip. I got a 517 right here to make sure I get on enough paint so that this is going to last. If I don't have a big enough tip, the job's probably not going to last as long. Got my spray shield right here. A lot of amateurs will go up there and they'll tape it all up, but if you have a good spray shield and you've been doing it for a while, this is probably the best tool to do the job. So I'm going to head up the ladder and get started. I've already done some prep work here, tighten up some of these corners here. They were cracking, so I'm going to go ahead and put on some spraying. You just put that right up there and get some spraying. Doing spraying too, it's important to make sure you get the back side of this here. So you always make sure you get in there and spray the back side of things. Also, when you're spraying, you don't want to hold on to the trigger the whole time. You want to let it break so that you don't end up with a bunch of lap marks on the siding. So I'm going to move this over here and keep going. And that's how you spray it. Hi, this is John Hillis from Scottsdale, Arizona, letting you know I got you covered.